Hey everybody, it's James here from Guitarist.com, and today I'm going to show you how to play Keep On Rockin' in the Free World by Neil Young. This one, I really like teaching it because it has a little bit for everybody. You know, the intro bit, it's really simple. It could be one of the first things you learn on guitar, right? And when you go to the chorus, you use the most common strumming pattern ever, and it has this cool thing, like a cool little ditty, you know, for people who want to add something cool to their playing, I guess. You know, so it's a really neat one. It's not super difficult. It just uses like the 4 wonder chords, you know, G, C, E minor, D. You could play like a billion songs with. Plus there's an A chord for one little bit in there. Before we get started, if you haven't grabbed your copy of my free ebook, I'm going to put a link to that in the corner and down below in the description. It has all the stuff you need to get your basic chords down, strumming, all that stuff. You know, it's quite a long ebook with tons of stuff, teaches you how to learn songs properly, all sorts of things. So I highly recommend getting your copy. It's completely free. I also have a course, Learn Guitar Once and For All, that we can talk about a bit later on. And don't forget to subscribe and do all that stuff. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I want to start off on an E minor chord. I'm going to put my index finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, my middle finger just underneath it. That's your basic E minor chord, but I'm going to add my ring finger to the 3rd fret of the B string. And we're going to do a little bit of a trick here. From this E minor, we switch to D. So I lift my middle and I move my index down to the 2nd fret of the G string. And I'm going to leave my D like that. This is actually D sus2, but in the context of this song, I really like this way. And if you're a very beginner, it's going to be a really easy switch because you get to leave a finger down and kind of pivot off of it. And then from here, I'm going to put my index finger 1 string higher, so now it's on the D string at the 2nd fret, and then my middle finger on the 3rd fret of the A string. And this makes a C add 9 chord, but we're going to think of it like a C chord. So we have E minor, and then we move our index down, we get our D chord, then we move our index up 1 string, put our middle finger down, we get our C, our basic C chord, and then we got to practice that switch back to E minor. And if you need help with your chord transitions, that's what that free ebook or my course, Learn Guitar Once and For All, that's what that's going to help you with. So please take a look down below if you want some more information on that. A really good exercise to do that is to just go chord shape, switch, chord shape, and just go back and forth between the two. So just E minor and D. I have a method called the chord switching game, which is a little more intricate and works really well, outlined in my ebook, but this is good enough. You know, you just go like that, and then we'd go from D, switch, C, switch, you know, just doing that over and over again at your own pace. I find it's really helpful to vocalize, like D, switch, C, switch. Helps you remember the names of everything. And then from C to E minor, you would do that same thing. And once you're feeling comfortable with the switches, we can add some rhythm to it. And this one has a really straightforward rhythm. It's just downstrokes. But we got to keep track of where we switch because we're switching during an offbeat. For the E minor, it's really straightforward. We just go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and notice I'm strumming just the thicker strings. So this finger that we're leaving down isn't coming into play in terms of the sound. We're just using it as a pivot point to make switching easier, you know. Anyways, we have our E minor shape and we go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then we switch to our D and we're just going to do it 3 times. 1 and 2. And then for the and, we switch to C. And 3 and 4 and. So you'll probably have to isolate just that little bit, you know, just go through that little measure over and over again, going on the D chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and you take a little break, you try it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then you incorporate E minor. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It helps a lot to count out loud. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that's going to give you the first half of the verse. For the second half, the chords and everything are the same. We're just changing one tiny detail. It's actually a little bit easier. For E minor, same thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now for D, we go 1 and 2 and. So 4 strokes on D and then 4 strokes on C. 3 and 4 and. So the split between D and C is more equal. It's easier to like feel it out. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But there's a warning sign on the road ahead. Why people saying we'd be better off dead. You know, for that part, the rhythm changes just that tiny little bit, and it makes a huge difference in the context of the tune. And this is the point where it stops being like first thing you could learn on guitar and starts being something that you might have to revisit to learn the rest of it as you progress on your journey with guitar. Either way, the verse is that chord progression plus those 2 patterns. We're going to play through a lot of this song near the end of the lesson, so you can hang on for that. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at the chorus, which goes... This is the point where it's no longer like beginner land, so I'm going to change the pace of the lesson and address you as if you already are somewhat familiar with the chord shapes and with strumming. Once again, my ebook, my beginner course, all the lessons on this channel, you know, are designed to help you get to that point if you're not there yet. We're starting on a G chord, and we're going to do the most common strumming pattern ever. Down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. So for that pattern, I would break it down and learn it in 2 parts. First, I would go down, down, up, 3, 4. Down, down, up, 3, 4. 3, 4. Just like that. Down, down, up, 3, 4. Notice I'm muting the strings. It's because when you press down chords for a really long time, it kind of hurts your fingers. Like I'm filming here, so I'm doing like a lot of takes. I'm not just playing this song once, right? My fingers are dying. No, just kidding. Anyways, and then the second half, we go 1, 2, miss, up, down, up. 1, 2, miss, up, down, up. And when we're missing, that involves, it's called syncopation, and it's kind of tough to feel. So I really want you to count out loud. 1, 2, miss, up, down, up, over and over again. And then you can try putting that together. You can go down, down, up, miss, up, down, up, miss, up, down, up. It helps to vocalize it, you know, to learn how to say down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. Because once you can say it, it means you like, you know it. And then it's just a matter of teaching your hand by telling it what to do. Down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. Right? This strumming pattern really opens up the tune and makes it like, you can almost hear the drums come in and everything, right? You know, because the verse is like, it's really like subdued and really like energetic, like pum, 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 pum. And then the verse, it's like, keep on rocking. You know, it's rocking out, right? Anyways, we're going to do that pattern one time on G, D, C. I'll write the chords in the corner here. This is the progression. And then we have this measure where we go. And for this part, we're basically taking a pattern, a strumming pattern, and we're changing chords during the pattern. So we're going to take our time. Starting off on C, we do a downstroke. And then we lift our index finger, making C major 7, and we do an upstroke. So just get used to going. You know, notice I lift my finger as I do the upstroke, or just before I do the upstroke. And then I'm going to miss the strings to reset my arm for an upstroke. And I'm going to switch to E minor. And from that C major 7 chord, my middle finger stays down, and I put my index on the 2nd fret of the A string, and I can do an upstroke. So let's just work on this bit. Starting on C, we go down, up, miss, up. Or you could think during the miss, you're switching. So you could even go down, up, switch, up. And I would do it super slowly, you know, just over and over again to program that muscle memory. Down, up, miss, up, 3 and 4 and down, up, miss, up. 3, and 4, and then at the end of it, we can add miss, up, down, up, just like with our strumming pattern that we just learned a moment ago. So we would go down, up, miss, up, down, up, staying on that E minor chord. And once you bring it up to speed, then we add our progression, G, D, C, play that, do that 4 times total. So like, keep on rocking in the free world. Keep on rocking in the free world. And then we switch to an A chord. We do our strumming pattern 4 times on A. And then we're back to so that is every piece of the song, every component. And I recommend going back through this lesson and really working on all the parts individually. You know, the first half of the verse, the second half of the verse, and then the chorus. You can break down the, you know, take your time, go through all the little pieces. Because now we're going to play through a little bit of the song just to give you an idea of what the whole thing will sound like. I'm going to set my metronome to 96 beats per minute. This will keep us going nice and steady. We're going to play our progression a couple times to kind of warm up, and then I'll start singing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Colors on the streets, red, white, and blue. People shuffling their feet, people sleeping in their shoes. But there's a warning sign on the road ahead. There's a lot of people saying we'd be better off dead. Don't feel like Satan, but I'm to them. So I try to forget it any way I can. Keep on rocking in the free world. 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 I see a woman in the night with the baby in her hand, under an old street light, near a garbage can. Now she puts the kid away, she's gone to get a hit. She hates her life, what she's done to it. That's one more kid that'll never get to go to school, never get to fall in love, never get to be cool. Keep on rocking in the free world. 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 So yeah, you just continue doing that a little bit more, and that's the entire tune. If you need any help with this, don't forget there's my free ebook. I also have a course, Learn Guitar Once and For All, which is designed to help people who are absolute beginners or people who have been struggling with those early phases of guitar and never really reached the point where they can just strum comfortably and, you know, make it feel like the song and play the songs that they want to play, right? So if you need some help doing that, I have a course that's very systematic but very fun, and it's going to take you through everything that you need to know to really feel confident strumming on guitar and, you know, be able to pull your guitar out and go to like a jam session. Like, this is a really good song to jam, actually, if you start learning like lead guitar. It's super fun, you know, so if you want to like start getting into that world and like, you know, or even if you just want to strum guitar in your living room and sound good, I highly recommend checking that out. Otherwise, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions, or even if you just want to say hi. Have a fun time practicing. I'll see you soon.